My name is Elaine Bradshaw. I am a Senior Vice President of one of the largest insurance brokerage companies in the world. We are responsible for all of corporate data, and I manage an international group of people spanning the globe.
And my name is Mike Bradshaw, and I started my career in finance, worked for a large pharmaceutical company, and at night I taught martial arts. I pioneered martial arts instruction back in the 70s. I would say the last 30 years of my career was selling commercial software internationally, and that's where I ended my career, and now I'm retired.
So when we were buying our house, the most exciting moment was walking into the one that you love. And it's a very unique experience because we've looked at so many homes along the way. We've been searching and searching for over a year, and we just weren't going to settle. So that was the most exciting moment, was walking through the door and looking around and saying, that's it. Well, when we walked into this house with Christen and I at the front door, and that door opened, I looked at her and I said, Christen, this is it.
Yeah, we spent a good amount of time, roughly about a year, with Christen, and she was showing us her thoughts about what might be interesting to us in terms of our next home, which was at the time pretty wide, and we were able to whittle it down. Being shore people, we always lived on the water, and the homes that we were looking at were not on the water. And when Christen said, you gotta see this home, and we went the very same day, because in her judgment this was the home. Of course, it's our decision to make in the end. However, it was the home, and we were very fortunate to have Christen as our broker, because the homes here sell the same day, and you're not talking about 1 or 2 or 3 people. You get to have 10 people wanting to buy a home here at the Four Seasons. Thank God for Christen, because she netted it out. She knew exactly what she had to do next.
But Christen has a knack for understanding her client and understanding the needs of her client and her customers. And that was very evident from day one. She really was able to net out what our needs were, and then started to really drive us towards things that would make us happy. I think she just nailed it for us, and I think that's a talent not a lot of realtors have.
She asks the right questions. Because you're asking the right questions, you get to know your client really well. In this case, it was us. It got to the point with the amount of time that we spent together, she could complete our own sentences. She knew what kind of home would fit our liking, and we didn't waste time because she focused on the things that really mattered to us.
Christen is a very unique professional woman who I think is a model for any realtor, especially young women who, as they try to move forward in careers, that they can pattern themselves after her.
It's very easy to throw a listing out there and sell a house. That's not a gift. That's easy. Anybody can do that. But here's where Christen's different. She knows what we want. Okay, but in addition to that, she can look at a house and she can look at the molding and tell us everything you want to know about the molding. And I don't know anything about moldings, but she'll look at it and give us advice. She can detect where things need to be repaired, and she can see all these nuances and things that we may not know ourselves as we're walking through a house. You walk through a house and you're looking at the macro house, not the micro house. Christen sees the micro house as well as the macro house, and it really helps a lot in your decision making.
And also the fact that because of the nature of her business, she is really looking at the lifestyle we want to live and tying the home that we want to the lifestyle we're trying to build for ourselves in the go forward. So as a leader of people myself, I found that working with Christen was really working with one of my peers in my company. And it was great because we were able to have a really good business discussion. She understood the objectives that we had. We had to make a certain price in the cost of the home. We had to have certain things within the home, and we had to meet certain deadlines and things like that. And we did face quite a couple of challenges along the way, and so her strength in negotiating really helped to bring that to fruition. I think that when you're dealing with professionals, it is really critical that there's the ability to bring together the business components with what the customer really needs. And in our case, the expectations we had were certainly high just because of the nature of who we are. And we had a high expectation on price, high expectation on delivery, and being able to close the house as quickly as we could and be able to move out. And she really went over the top to make sure that we got what we wanted and that we got what we needed.
We sat down with Christen and said, how should we handle this? And we decided that the best thing we could do is find out what really matters to the seller. And Christen, within 5 seconds, was on the phone trying to drill down on what really mattered to the seller in this case, knowing everybody's going to throw a number out and they're going to bid on the home. And of course, the price did matter, no surprise there. It was time. Christen was able to figure out, because they didn't have to disclose this, but she was able to ask the other seller and get from the other seller the thing that mattered as much as price. It was time. And so with Christen's help, we got a hold of our finance representative and said, here's the deal. How fast can we close? Christen really pushed this guy along to come up with a good answer, and he said we could do it in 20 days. And Elaine and I almost fell off our chairs. Said, that's unbelievable. And the fact that we were able to close that fast made the difference to the seller, and that's how we got the home. And I'll tell you right now, without Christen, that wouldn't have happened. It would have been just, here's their number, do you like what we're doing? And somebody wins and somebody loses. But Christen made the close happen.
We were looking for a realtor to be a professional, to be a leader, to be a strategic thinker. Typically, people in business don't always exhibit those in real estate business. Christen is an example of that type of individual who can strategically think and calculate how to win the business that needed to be won. She also brings a knack of mentoring more junior people. We saw that firsthand, and she was awesome at it. And it's another great quality that business professionals really have. And I would say that through the negotiations that we had with the other side, if we did not have Christen actually staying on track and staying grounded and staying aligned to what the goal was, we probably wouldn't have come away winning this house. There were other offers made, they were cash offers, but our offer was the one that was accepted, and it was really because of her tenacity in terms of getting everything in place and driving the other side to understand why this was so valuable to us as her clients.
The other thing I would like to add to that, and that is respecting your time. Your time's valuable. And with Christen, if she says she's going to be here at 2 o'clock, well, she's going to be here before 2 o'clock. That's what you can expect from somebody. You know, there are words, there are deeds, and the deeds are the ones that matter. And so when Christen committed to doing something, you knew it was going to happen. She's way ahead of the game. In fact, whether it be, physically being here or making a phone call or doing a text, we were kept abreast of everything that was happening throughout the entire process. She's very well networked. She knows people. So if you have a problem of X, she can insert you in Y. The beauty of Christen's networking cannot be understated. She knows a lot of people, and it helps the entire process.
Yeah, correct. When we got the phone call that Monday morning that we were getting this house, it was early in the morning, so you know that Christen was up early talking to the other realtor and the other owners of this house, and we got a very early morning call that was just full of great news and so well presented and thoroughly explained, and how she did it and how she nailed it. To your point earlier about full transparency, it was there from day one right to the end.
And she was happy for us. And
Yes.
of course, you're happy. It wasn't about happy commission, it was happy personally. I mean, she was thrilled for Elaine and I as individuals, and you could feel it.
So Christen's service to us was exceptional. And I say that because we discovered at the end of our journey with her, through the ups and downs of a contract and mortgages and everything else that goes along, that she was facing her own personal health challenge. She never told us, and she never let on that anything was wrong. She just went full guns a-blazing, did what we needed done, and really delivered on all of the things that we asked for and her promises to us.
I don't know how she did it. I mean, holy mackerel. I mean, you have a situation that's very tough, and to not reveal it in any way, shape, or form, it was the usual Christen. That's next level stuff, to be able to do that and deal with a personal challenge, yet to execute as a complete professional along the way. That was amazing to Elaine and I. When we found out, it's like, oh my, and very impressed. Thank God for Christen Sachs and Elaine Bradshaw to be able to net things out on how you're going to move this, do this, contact that person, and it mitigated a lot of the stress that goes through making this move. She has a natural gift of empathy. You can't fake empathy. It's either real or it's not. And not only empathy, but a genuine interest on you as a person, given whatever your circumstances are. You don't see that very often, but it is with Christen. And I love promoting her because of what she's done for us. It's really easy.
Christen is very service-oriented, which is also key, because most brokers, it's on their time, and she doesn't operate that way. Whatever it works for her client is what she does. The professionalism and the way Christen managed us and the business and the purchase of the home and understanding what we wanted was so fabulous.
Elaine and I can be, I guess, a little bit difficult and challenging
We are.
because of our experiences.
We are.
We're somewhat demanding, but not overly demanding, because it's not easy finding the right real estate person. And we found Christen, and the rest is history.
Well, in fact, you'll recall that I didn't even want to work with any one particular real estate agent
true.
because of all of our bad experiences. And he had come home and he said, I met someone, her name's Christen Sachs. And I said, I don't want to know. And he said, no, it's not, it's going to be different, it's going to be different. And I said, okay, we'll give her a shot. And it was different. It was very different. It has created friendship now outside of the business that we've conducted.
People matter. It's up to people. Who are you dealing with? What kind of person are they? How smart are they? How productive are they? They care about you as a client. We can go on and talk about all the different characteristics that you look for with a real estate agent. But, truly, Christen was amazing in everything she did for us. Literally, Christen got to know us well enough to know what color Elaine likes. Little miscellaneous things you don't even think about. Christen already knew how to complete that sentence, and because she got to know us that well. And that is so important in sales. If you don't know your clients, you're not going to be a successful salesperson. She really cares about her client, and that's, in my opinion, I think that's pretty rare. We're pretty lucky that we were able to connect. The big guy said, you're going to meet Christen Sachs. She's a real estate broker like you've not seen before. And with her, and I mean this sincerely, we wouldn't be in this house. I don't know where we would be. It wouldn't be in this forever house that we're in right now. Guaranteed, it wasn't going to happen. It was through her efforts that brought us here. And then with that, it was my lovely wife saying, wow, and watching her eyes go boing, and I knew that this was the house. So between the two of them, came to the conclusion, which is our forever house right near at Four Seasons.
And it's called partnership.
Yeah, it's a good
And
partnership.
that's what we did.
Good partnership, exactly right. Yeah,